some exciting news out of West Bloomfield Township, as the township recently announced S&P has maintained their AAA bond rating that will affect many projects going forward for years to come in West Bloomfield, and may affect some projects that lead into your life each and every day. Here with more insight on this are two people that played a critical role in maintaining this AAA bond rating: West Bloomfield Township Clerk Debbie Binder and West Bloomfield Township Treasurer Teri Weingarden. Thank you both for being with us today.
Good morning, Tyler.
Glad to have you both on, as this AAA bond rating will affect how West Bloomfield pursues bonds going forward, and including what was one that was recently approved by the people of West Bloomfield in the previous election this year for West Bloomfield Parks. Teri, I'll begin with you as a township treasurer. You have unique expertise into how this AAA bond rating can impact the township financially. How will this being maintained benefit West Bloomfield from the financial side of things?
So it already is benefiting West Bloomfield. So as you indicated, we had a bond for the Parks and Recreation for a recreation center, and it passed overwhelmingly, and it's a $25 million bond. And because we maintained our AAA rating, we received numerous bids. So what happens is basically an open competitive bid process. And usually a community will get 3 or 4, maybe 5 bids, and we received 12 bids, which meant they were really sharpening their pencils to give us a good interest rate for this bond issuance. And we got a very, very competitive interest rate, which saves money. So it's very important to have the AAA bond rating. And it means that when they see that there's a bond issuance, they want to bid. They want to buy West Bloomfield bonds. They know that they're a safe investment, and it gets a lot more interest, which means lower costs. So it's already benefiting the township, and it will continue to benefit the township. Just really proud of what our team accomplished. Thank you so much, Clerk Debbie Binder, and finance staff, and assessing, and PFM, and legal counsel. You know, it's like a dream team getting it done.
As usual, it's a team effort going into this sort of township business that keeps you in good standing financially and otherwise as you pursue these projects going forward. And Debbie, just speak to that team effort and how that plays into maintaining these programs and these systems, and really with this AAA bond rating, the reputation of West Bloomfield as a government, as an entity, and of course, as a community.
Again, it speaks to the credibility of the township and the desirability of the township from an investor's perspective. So anytime a project comes forward, or really just as a matter of almost any government operation, they look at you as a very safe investment. They look at you as a well-run community. It's something that decisions we make as a board every day contribute to the not only the solvency, but the excellence of the community. So it's something that, you know, every time you go out for a bond, you open your credit rating up for a review. They do have a normal review period, but there is a review every single time you're looking to borrow money. So you always have to, you know, put your best foot forward and point out the attributes of your community that make you unique, and kind of do a PR presentation, but you also have to have the numbers that support that. It's not all PR, because S&P is looking at your performance and your numbers, your fund balance, a lot of different things to make that decision. And I believe there are only 12 municipalities in Michigan that have this credit rating. It, you know, to achieve that with Standard & Poor's Global is huge. And like Teri had mentioned, it is a team effort. And you had asked, it is a team effort. We require the information from assessing. We require the support of our professional support services. We have a bond counsel, and we have a bond coordination team. And they guide you through that process as you're getting evaluated. So the outcome, obviously, as Teri had mentioned, has been outstanding. To have 12 people bidding on us and finding us an important, you know, investment, and a reliable investment, led to us being able to get those favorable terms in a market where you know, terms are not always as favorable. So it was really exciting. And if you recall, a few years ago when we elevated to that AAA rating from a AA plus, we were ecstatic, because we knew the level of I can't think of the word I'm looking for. Teri, do you have a word for me? But the level of, you know, of credibility that it did give to the township. Again, it's not something you get lightly, that you go through a very exhaustive process to have that credit review. And at the end of it, you have a couple of days waiting for that report to come in. And we were ecstatic when it came through that it was affirmed that we were still a AAA community.
And Terry, from the outside looking in, we don't understand what sort of work goes into going for a AAA bond rating, getting that AAA bond rating, and then maintaining it. As Debbie said, it's an exhaustive process to make that happen. Can you give us some insight on what has to be undertaken by our local governments to even pursue that sort of a bond rating?
Sure. Well, first of all, prudence, financial stability, being fiduciaries on a consistent basis, good staff, showing that people want to work here and that people in the community want to live here. Just some of the data, some of our census data, and just sharing with them a lot of our financial information. So basically, the township has been very, very fiscally responsible. You know, we've been good in down years and when the economy's been really well, and we've always planned ahead. We've always budgeted conservatively and made sure that we have the money if we have some bumps in the road. And they look at that. They look at like your overtime consistent policies that are making you fiscally strong on a consistent basis. So it was a lot of work to prepare for it because you have to pull all sorts of data. And as I mentioned, you know, our budget and finance and assessing staff provided a lot of the detailed reports we have, but just, you know, the consistent good decisions of the board and the pension board to make us a strong community is really what's important because they do look at your long-term track record, really, to make sure that this isn't like a community that saves their money, spends it all, saves their money, spends it all, and then when there's a downturn, they're not prepared. And that is not West Bloomfield. We're always prepared.
And Debbie, lastly, as we go to you, we're running a little bit short on time, so I want to wrap up by asking, you know, you're seeing the results immediately with the West Bloomfield Parks bond, and you know maybe that's something similar to what you saw with the upgrade from AA+ to AAA, but were you surprised to see those results so emphatically in favor of the township as they didn't upgrade this time to AAA, but maintained that bond rating in this current evaluation?
You know, once we knew we maintained it, I think we knew that we were in good shape because, again, we joined a group of 12 people in the entire, maybe it's 13 now, in the entire state. So once you've reached that AAA rating, you are looked favorably upon by you know, the investors. So I don't know that we were surprised by the response based on maintaining that. The concern was making sure that we did maintain that. You know, one of the things that does help us is, as a more residential community, our tax base is a little more stable than perhaps some place where businesses are coming and going. And that, you know, definitely does help. And one of the things I would add, Terry got into the long range, is we do a lot of long range planning, and that's something they look at too. And an example would be our fire department plans out what the life cycle of vehicles and when we're going to need, so we need to replace them, so that there's a plan in place. And when they see that kind of planning, again, it reflects favorably upon the township and gives them more confidence to give us that great rating, and that rating gives the investors more confidence. So I think as long as we maintain that AAA, we're going to see the response to any kind of borrowing we need to do and the debt we need to take on. So it is you know, obviously we are taking on more debt, but it is a point of pride that investors look at us as such a safe bet to invest in.
Maybe not a story that jumps off the page when you look at the headline, but does have a big impact on your community for residents of West Bloomfield. Debbie, Terry, thank you so much for your time today and congratulations.
Thank you, Tyler, very much.